Oh, I'm here. Hi, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Okay.
All right. Hey, hey everybody, it's Coffee Esquire from Pragmatic Papers. Go read the Pragmatic Papers. Sorry, how to do that. Hey, while you were out of town, I had a really weird thing happen. I was just at a random event, and Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of the state of Texas, was there. And it was probably like my first time I've ever been close or got to interact with someone that kind of high up on the political food chain. And I actually got to talk to him. And I'd kind of been thinking about, what would be an interesting thing to ask a question from him without just getting him to tell me to fuck off. And I remembered a question that you have a lot for, you asked us specifically about Christians, but I think apply in a lot of ways. You say, like, why is it that whenever Christians talk about politics, they say, like, there's never a time whenever being a Christian is difficult or conflict with their politics.
Did you guys know that Kafka is a Christian? Was anyone aware of that? I was like so surprised. Are these slot machine sounds? I have no idea. Like, I was so surprised when I discovered that, like, Kafka is still religious, which is so interesting. But yeah,
Right? Like, I hate immigrants. I think they're bad for the country, but the Bible says we need to help people, right? At the meeting, Ken Paxton gave this big speech about how much he loves the Constitution. And so I asked him, I said, hey, has there ever been a time as the Attorney General where there was some argument you had to bring because it might be constitutional, but you personally might not agree with it? And it was really interesting to see his response, because at first he didn't really understand the question. And I kind of had to work with him on it. And then he said, I can't really think of one right now, but I guess, there might be cases where, like, if I'll still bring the case, but I won't win, then I won't be unhappy about it. Which wasn't a very satisfying answer. But what was interesting is seeing him try to work his way to an answer, I kind of had an epiphany, because I don't think that he's able to think of a way in which the Constitution disagrees with him. Right. And I think that's kind of what you run into in what you're talking about. Your struggle here is, like, people aren't worried about, or, like, people don't complain about the Bible and being a Christian conflicting with their political stance, because in their mind, they already agree.
Catholic?
Right.
I'm not sure.
So, like,
I don't know.
for him, of course, the Constitution agrees with him. And if you try to bring up something that's contradictory, he'll go to any, predict your ends to make it agree with his politics, right? People will do this with immigration and Christianity, where they say, oh, well, they've got to follow the law.
That kind of actually makes sense, just mainly because, like the way I kind of look at it is, like, it isn't that people fundamentally disagree with the Constitution, because at this point, the Constitution might as well be like the Bible at this point. But I think that the way people look at it is like, oh yeah, it doesn't really matter. Like, no, I'm not actually breaking the Constitution. I'm just doing another interpretation of the Constitution. Because the Constitution, the wording of the Constitution sometimes, and most of the time, if anything, is so vague and so generalized that, like if you just, like, read it, right? Like, if you read any kind of segment from the Constitution, you'll realize that this piece of paper can literally be bent to anyone's will, right? Like, you can tell that it is the most, like, flexible piece of documentation ever. You can interpret it so many ways that you can interpret it in the most Republican way possible, from the most fundamentalist way possible, but you can also interpret the Constitution in the most liberal way possible, right? A living, breathing document, right? But yeah, it's a mess. It's really just a mess.
You can't break the law, and actually, we're helping these people because,
which is why, like, some people say, like, oh yeah, by the way, President Trump is a servant of the Constitution. He would never break it. He will adhere to the Constitution. Well, the thing is that you can bend that, right? You can really, really bend that. You can bend that shit. Yeah. So, yeah.
because them doing this, they'll make all sorts of excuses for it, and so it's interesting to see that in the legal sense. I mean, do you think whenever you're saying that, are you asking that rhetorically, as in, like, that is the answer and you want them to confront that? Or do you think that there's something further from that? You just want them to are you looking for a different kind of answer from them?
No, yeah, I'm just proving the point that if you have like a value system, that value system.
Okay, so I just submitted a request to Reddit admin to restart r/Foodshops. Because right now it is restricted, which means that the only people who are able to, go over it, I guess, is like people the mod team on the subreddit approves of. So yeah, there's just not much I can do here.
Oftentimes only exists to really place constraints on you. Like that's what a value system is for, because absent that, you would literally just do whatever you want to do. You'd be like a full-on hedonistic person. So it's very interesting when somebody points to their value system and they only ever use it to empower them to do the things that they want to do anyway. That doesn't sound like a value system. That just sounds like an infinite set of rationalizations for hedonism, you know?
Right, because it's interesting to me, because thinking more about these scenarios and that question is, it's kind of like, it seems like people, like with the Second Amendment and people wanting to own a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Trump has never read the Constitution, but you know what's scary? I feel like Trump has read Mein Kampf. Because remember when they did a raid at Mar-a-Lago, and I can't believe people forget this, and because people are talking about like a Democrat having like a Nazi tattoo, right, on his chest, right? The thing is people forget that Trump had a copy of Mein Kampf by his bedside. When they raided Mar-a-Lago, they took a picture, or whatever, or allegedly, they found a copy of Mein Kampf. And then in another, on his bedstand, yeah, that's correct. And in another case, Trump literally said to one of the people next to him that, oh yeah, I wish that my people were as loyal as Hitler's generals. I wish America's generals were as loyal as Hitler's generals was to Hitler. So he said that verbatim, right? And we just happened to forget about it, I guess. And then he won the election. Yeah. This timeline fucking sucks.
There's not very much interrogation of the Second by those people, I don't think, to get to, and so get to own a gun. I don't think there's this like very complex understanding necessarily. They just, Second Amendment says it, so I think I should get it. However, if someone challenges them on it, all of a sudden they can pull out all of these ways and we said, actually, it does mean this. Or if we look at other parts of the Constitution that say, like, if you try to do an insurrection, then you can't run for president. You know, oh, well, actually, here's all these like really extracted ways to do it. And so it's kind of interesting to me that I see that, like, you're talking about how, like, you know, your value system needs to constrain you in ways. But I think to a lot of people, it feels more like they're saying, well, no, I have a value system, and it's kind of a virtue signature, just an identity that they get to wear. And anytime you try to challenge them on a contradiction, they can, you know, have all knowledge. Meanwhile, whenever you kind of very clear discrepancies, they can say, oh no, you just don't understand. You're just not.
Well, yeah, apparently Destiny is finally facing Simon. If you don't know who Simon is, don't worry about it, okay?
You don't understand the complexities of the system, right?
Sure.
Expedition.
So you point to the value system because value systems, because they're known for constraint. The moral loading of the word is one of goodness. So you point to the value system to extract the normative value of it to make yourself seem good, but then you don't actually follow through with any of it. So, yeah.
So then, like, whenever you know, you compare, then you can, like,
bro, okay, what's the point of the Hades 2 challenges, the trials? Like what exactly is the point? Because the thing is that, like, I feel like it gives you so much darkness, but darkness is, like, not used for fucking anything. Like, the void, like, item is not used for, like, fucking anything. So I don't really get the point of it, I guess. I don't know.
Our attacks on them of saying you're not
Like,
adhering to this moral
I don't get
system.
the trials. Like, what's the incentive?
You know, I'm in a lot of trouble because I feel like a lot of people, there's this discussion around, well, we need to be better than the other side, right? And we can't stoop to their level or whatever like that. And it's interesting to me because it seems like on their side,
just for fun,
they do not think they're doing wrong,
yeah,
right?
Because I feel like when you complete, when you complete like Binding of Isaac challenges, like at least you're unlocking items for later runs, like later regular runs, right? But
They never use that argument as well, right? In fact, the things that we use as restraining principles, as limiting principles, they use as permissions, right? Look at the way that we'll say like,
Right.
oh, like we don't want to, pack the courts, or we don't. Not that I agree with packing the courts, but we don't want to pack the courts to do this thing because it would be, really unhinged, and it would give them, carte blanche to do a ton of stuff. But we don't want to sink to their level of destroying government. And then on their end, look at the current excuse that Mike Johnson is using about the not seating that one congressperson, right? And he's like, well, Nancy Pelosi did this one thing before, so I'm going to do this thing, right? So they use as permission things that we use as limiting principles. That's an insanely skewed approach to the world, right?
They don't look to high standards to create their own standards, right? Like right now,
Never.
The Democrats
You'll
helped
never hear them
approve
say
a judge.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the Senate, the Democrats helped approve a judge that Trump nominated right now. And so it's showing like, no, you can do it during a shutdown, but they're never going to say, well, look, see, since they did it, I guess that shows that we should have to do it because that's the standard.
Yeah, never,
right?
that never, ever, because they don't even acknowledge that. Yeah.
Hitler suffered over 8 attempts by his generals starting in 38. Really? 8 assassination attempts? I thought it was just like 2 or 3. 8? I'm pretty sure they even came really, really close one time because they were planning a bomb. They were planting a bomb in the office building that Hitler was in, and they made the bomb go off, and it killed other people, but not Hitler, right? Like it harmed other people, but not Hitler himself. So it was a completely botched attempt. But at the same time, like that, I think that was one of the closest efforts for sure. Just mainly because like he was in the building at the time that the bomb went off. And that was a close one, but yeah, what can I say?
Right. And so it's kind of interesting then whenever I look at Gavin Newsom and kind of his strategy on Twitter of kind of mimicking Trump and that kind of strategy that has got a lot of attention. And it's interesting because I saw...
Are you talking about Inglourious Bastards?
An exchange on that where someone's like, well, is he no
Good
better
one.
than Trump? And it's like, well, no, look, he might have the same tactics as Trump, but his intentions in doing it are to, 1, make fun of Trump, 2, get attention so that we can take it away from Trump, and 3, to kind of shame and show how bad this is generally, right? And so like whenever I look at this kind of people saying we can't be as bad as the Republicans.
Hey, Leno, good to see you on Kick. I still think Trump's ass were trying to get publicity, maybe. I think like, dude, it's kind of weird because I'm like trying to hover in between like whether or not I should be full conspiracy or not, right? Because when I think about like when I think about the way that like it was so perfect that like the person shot and missed Trump and it grazed Trump's ear or some shit like that, that's crazy to me. I'm not sure, like I'm genuinely not sure whether how staged that shit is. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. It's just that's crazy. Like that is the closest thing. That is the closest thing I am getting to believing in conspiracy theory. Okay, like forget about Tyler Robinson. Okay, bro had a trans girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever the fuck. Right? I understand. Okay, you are horny for the pussy. Okay, but like the first person, dude, it's crazy. That's crazy.
I think that kind of takes away a lot of the intent on the Democrat side, right? Where it's saying like, well, like when I look at Gavin Newsom redistricting to give California more seats, right? Is that I don't think that's the same. I think people would agree that's not the same because the intent is to get back to fairness, whereas the Republicans doing it is not to is to make things unfair.
Yeah, of course.
And so
yeah.
I don't know.
But that's
So
super
it's just
obvious.
kind of
Just be careful because on their side, like the line level people, like my mom or whatever, people who listen to the news, might actually believe these arguments. But the people that you're debating, they don't believe these arguments. Like the, his name Lactoid,
or Rob. Yeah, I'm not even sure if Trump was actually shot because the thing is that like another conspiracy, like a part of the same conspiracy, is that if it was actually a setup, what happened was that Trump hit like his security guard's hoister, like the holster for that security guard's like pistol, and it hit him so hard that it fucking clipped his ear or something. Like his ear got clipped on some like guard, like fucking pant belt, whatever the fuck, right? On some sharp portion or something. Yeah, who the fuck knows? The guy behind him died for him to get that picture. Yeah. Corey.
Or is like they know this
Yeah.
is all bullshit, and they'll never be able to.
Yeah.
answer it, yeah.
Okay. It's just kind of coming a cluster of like ideas that are kind of coming together for me on it. I just want to kind of run them on you. Did you? I know this is a rhetorical question. I know you saw it. Did you watch the ban appeal court that me and Zip did?
Did I? Wait, you're saying I saw it?
Yeah, ironically, because I know you didn't watch it, you don't have time for us. But
me
and Zip, we did our second episode of our show, E-Court. Everybody should go check it out. And in it, we did like a ban appeals of people that got banned in your chat.
I think it worked. Oh, really?
It's kind of, we ran it like a traffic court, essentially, just kind of quick run through, made some jokes about it, stuff like that. I sent you a message that you did not respond to make sure it was okay with you, and we did it anyways. But I just want to like, since I'm here.
I feel bad for Kafka. Kafka himself is like one of the coolest people I know, like in the terms of like his career, his former occupation, and everything, right? Like he is a lawyer, but not just any lawyer. He was a lawyer who defended pedophiles and people who raped kids, right? So like that adds an additional thing because like obviously at the risk of his own life or something like that, people are not going to take pleasantly to that, right? But the thing is like it's kind of funny as well how he looks up to people like Steven, and he tries to get their attention, even though like I would probably even argue that Kafka might be a more impressive person than Steven, like in some manners, right? But yeah, it's just kind of interesting how like how people of higher status is still like I don't know, kowtows to content creators who just simply because they're content creators, like I don't know, they look up to content creators, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I find that, an interesting thing because Kafka complains all the time that that Steven isn't answering his DMs or anything like that. I mean, fair enough, okay? I totally get that.
I just want to make sure you're cool if we do stuff like that.
Steven actually does respond to me once I spam his DMs enough, okay? But usually it takes like 5 texts, okay?
Yeah. Who's unbanning people though? Neither of you can unban, right?
No,
Foodshops! Why does Destiny respond to you so much? Spam his DMs. Okay? It's fine. Just spam his DMs. Okay? You can't get what you want. You cannot get what you want unless you're willing to risk getting blocked. Okay? I'm sorry.
We coordinate with like Rin Lux or Hobbit Follower, and we just like kind of talk with them about it, and then like
as long as
we
it's
make
good
sure.
content, fuck it,
Okay. Yeah, just making sure. And if you ever, I doubt you will, but if you have a problem, just don't hesitate to reach out on it. Okay. Then let me see. As far as like your last thing, and then sorry everybody, I'll get off. I know you really want to watch E33. As far as you're going out to like the campuses and doing these public events, I have a hard time watching those videos because I feel like you have a lot of like people that are approaching you that maybe haven't thought through their arguments or haven't maybe engaged on the level that you're engaging with it, right? Like I feel like I see a lot of like rote arguments that you then have to address.
The level 1 arguments, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Do you feel like that's a very fruitful like exercise for you? Because like
I mean, it's not an exercise. It's supposed to be for like clip farming and like making like strong statements about particular policies. I just personally don't enjoy that. Conservatives, like, I mean, when the only thing you can fight is a child and children become your primary targets, I mean that in more ways than one for conservatives. Like, that's just how they prefer to style their things. But for me, it's very boring and I don't enjoy it as much. Somebody made a post about how I should be more focused on the event and like drawing out concessions. But I said earlier, like, it feels very weird to be, it feels very weird to like barrel down on a guy who's already brave enough to step in front of an audience that's fairly hostile towards him, and I feel bad. I don't know, yeah. I'm trying to think of like a way that we can either get more conservatives to these events or go to maybe just a super conservative city or do like almost like a change my mind tier thing. But I think they need to be announced more in advance, which presents some security issues, but whatever. But yeah, it feels bad to just be like bullying the fuck out of, bullying the fuck out of people who are obviously not here to have like they're not equipped to have like the ultra in-depth conversations like the conservatives like the commentators should be. But I mean, there's a reason why Charlie Kirk favored these types of events, right? It's easy dunks and then super clips you can cut up and
So like with like the clips and the easy dunks and things like that, like I get that sense, and maybe there's a lot of value there that I don't know about because I don't understand how that world works. But like as far as then, whenever I look at your appearances, like when you're in London on that show, and you have like kind of going to Oxford or whatever, things like that, right? I mean, as is it are those as like are those in your mind? I think are probably more enjoyable, but are they like less valuable to kind of like I don't know spreading the message or something? Or how do you view those?
Are they less valuable doing?
Well, like whenever you go to like on those shows, right? Is it just in the same vein as you showing up at a campus and debating 20 college kids, or like how do you?
Well, no, I think the
view it?
shows
Because,
are
like,
generally I can be a little bit more on point because I should be debating people that are a little bit more knowledgeable about what they're talking about, right?
yeah, but I mean, do you think then like even though you're on point stuff, is it like to so like it's a level 4 conversation, and now a lot of people are tuning out, and you don't get to like have as much of a reach or have much of an impact, right? Like people scrolling through TikTok aren't going to watch you on that.
Oh, sure. I mean, you have to balance it. I guess you try to get like
but-
clips from these conversations as well, but I mean, what are you going to do?
Okay. I was just wondering because I just like I've been seeing like you've been doing a whole lot of appearances recently, and they just feel very like different. I was just trying to pick your brain about how that stuff works, but no, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Again, everybody go read the Pragmatic Papers, and E-Court episode 3 might be coming next week. Get excited about it.
All right. Well, everybody.
You left my last 10 DMs unread. Oh, that's rough, buddy. What the fuck? The way you word that is so funny. What do you mean? The angle that shows how they lowered the flag, called the cameraman, slowly got up, feel staged. Listen, I'm not one for conspiracy theories, okay? I'm anti conspiracy theory, okay? With that being said, all right, all right. That being said, if I speak, I might be in big trouble. Now, just for reference, okay, just for future reference, I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal. I do not wish to kill myself. I get depressed, but I do not want to kill myself, okay? Yeah.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Cool. All right, shall we get on to the main content? By the way, the main content being something. But before we do that, I would like to have some time going to the bathroom. Yeah. It was neat getting to talk to Steven. You leave my DMs unread all the time? Dude, I'm sorry. I'm just busy with it. I'm sorry. If you like, you should participate in our voice chat channels and shit, because yeah, we have a very active community. That's where I focus all my attention at these days. Yeah. But it makes me depressed, okay? Every day I think about my community and I get depressed. I'm kidding, joking. I love you guys, okay? But yeah. So that's Kafka. You talked with Steven, Titus. Okay, so we have to continue this, okay? For people who hate this, I'm sorry, but we have to continue this, okay? Yeah, my apologies. It's the Hutch crash out on Destiny, okay? Our favorite slop tent. No! We have to cover Tectone! Oh my god. Okay, well, okay, wait, hold on. We'll cover Tectone as well, okay? Fuck! Oh! Dude, this guy's uploading on a daily basis now. I'm sorry, this guy's crazy, okay? Wait. Alright, here, I'll play this on in the meantime, be right back. Good luck! Be right back. I'll be fine, okay? Load? Hello? Fuck.